Hey everybody, good morning. I gotta put my glasses on so I don't kill my eyes with looking at a screen so much. Well, welcome back to Conversations with allieetoile. Today I have a very special guest joining us from New York, and she's a lovely ballerina with the American Ballet Theatre, Miss Anabel Katsnelson. And I am going to get her on here in just a minute for you guys. How's everyone doing today? Thumbs up if we're all good.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hello. How are you, Anabel?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good as well. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on Conversations with allieetoile. This is very exciting, and I'm happy to have you here with me.
I'm glad to be here.
So, I just want to quickly hop on here for everyone who's watching. Can you give me a thumbs up if you guys can hear everything okay? Fingers crossed. Don't be shy. I want to make sure everyone can hear this. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, we got a thumbs up. So before we begin today's conversation, I want to allow Anabel to introduce herself in case there are any new fans out there who don't know who she is. And tell us who you are, where you're dancing right now.
Hi, everyone. So I'm a dancer with American Ballet Theatre. I'm in the corps de ballet there. I joined in 2016, so this is my fourth year. I absolutely love it. Actually, Allie and I met in Houston Ballet. We did the second company there together for a year in 2015, right?
Was it? Yeah, it was. 2015. Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, we're based in New York. We tour all around the world. I mean, obviously, we're not touring right now. A bunch of our tours got canceled because of Corona. But normally we travel internationally and around the U.S. as well.
And you and your loved ones, they're all okay right now. And I know all the ABT the ballet family around the world, we're all displaced and facing such an irregular situation at the moment. But everyone so far is good and healthy?
So far, yes. No one in my family has Corona, so that's good at least. I mean, at least what I know of. It's really hard to get tested, so...
Absolutely. Well, I hope that continued health keeps up for you and for everyone watching here. You know, health is the one thing at this time when I can't stress enough. While we're unable to dance and unable to pursue our careers as we normally would, we have to be thankful for our health at this point, because that's all we can really be focused on, is just keeping safe and healthy and practicing social distancing and all of the things and all of the wonderful tools that governments around the world are providing to us. So I want to quickly, again, before we begin, I want to thank Anabel again for joining us today and offering her time to be part of this project, which means so much to me, and hopefully we'll have some positive feedback from you guys. So let's dive on in. I've got heaps of Q&As and questions and comments from so many people. I mean, I've got my computer screen pulled up next to me. It's just like like they are pouring in. So first, I wanted to know, and I'm sure, you know, everyone within the ballet world is a little bit curious as to how different companies are managing and what's going on now that we're all at home with, you know, protecting ourselves from coronavirus. So what is the current company situation with ABT, and what does it look like for the future with you guys?
So right now we're on a layoff. Currently, like as of now, our start back is like April 22nd or something. But obviously we're just taking the situation day by day. We don't even know, you know, when we can really come back, just because, I mean, depends how, you know, what happens like with Corona and all that. But our tours got canceled, like I said. We're still waiting on our Met season. Hopefully we can salvage some of it. But that's TBD. We've been having a bunch of meetings on Zoom, like company meetings, which has been really amazing, just to like kind of keep us all together, keep us like we can see each other on that platform and talk about issues and still have company meetings and still feel like we're part of a company. We also have class every day at noon. Our ballet master, Carlos Lopez, has been teaching just out of like the goodness of his heart. And it's honestly such a lifesaver. Well, first of all, it's just to be able to take a class, even if it's in your living room. Like, it's important to do that every day, I think, because we don't know how long this will go on for. And we kind of need to establish a routine because it's so easy to get like unmotivated and, you know,
absolutely,
it's hard to take class in your living room, basically.
It definitely is. And I want to kind of tie that point into something, because someone just sent in a question, you know, hi, I'm a ballet student and I'm trying to do class in my living room, but it's just so hard. Is there any advice that you can give to students and or professionals who are trying to maintain their physical activity, but of course doing it in a safe way? Because we all, you know, everyone's home is different. I'm currently with my parents and they have tile throughout the home. So I am very limited as to what I can do because I don't obviously want to be injured when I come back to work, and I want to be able to stay, you know, in some sort of a good shape. So what can you talk about with what you're doing, maybe what your colleagues are doing, and anything that you can inspire those to, you know, maybe incorporate into their current routine?
Yeah, so I mean, I have like wood floors at home. So I've been doing bar and a little bit of center, all on flat. And then I love floor bar. I've been doing Skype sessions with my teacher, Marjorie Libert. She's based in New York, but she does Skype sessions, which has been great for this time. And I feel like I do that in point shoes, and it helps me kind of like get my toes, you know, still in the shoe.
Sure.
Also, like, there's so many free classes online, like on Instagram Live and Facebook Live. I'd say do more than one class a day sometimes, because I mean, it's different doing it in your own home. You're obviously not exerting as much energy as you would in a studio, and it's hard to get as much out of it as you would like being there in person. So I'd say do multiple, like, and try different things, not just ballet. Try like a modern class, do some Pilates or yoga. There's so many online platforms that offer great things.
No, I mean, again, I have to completely agree with that statement. Birmingham Royal Ballet has we've done the Zoom thing as well, and so we have a lot of our company members joining on that. And, you know, of course, the ballet community is one where it is filled with knowledge. It is filled with some really, really amazing people. And so to be able to see on Instagram, Facebook, all these different platforms, how all these people are coming together and offering their time and their wisdom, I think it's definitely a great tool that we can all tap into. The only thing that, again, here's another question someone wrote in, what should I do, or should I be looking for certain teachers? I am trained Vaganova, but I was taking a class the other day that felt very foreign to the way I move. So I don't know, I guess in broad terms, maybe we can put this as, you know, many dancers come from different backgrounds, many dancers learn different techniques, different schools, and I think that they're all amazing. I think that they all have very different ideas and very different goals for how to work and how to move the body, but there isn't one that's, in my opinion at least, better than the other. It's just a personal opinion of what you think works best for you in your dancing, and of course what's available to you. So I think it's a great resource to be able to have exposure and to be able to broaden your horizons to see those things. Anabel, what can you talk about how to do that?
Exactly. I think now is the time to explore new things and to really soak up all these like cool classes and teachers. It's important to be open-minded, and I mean, in the dance world now, you need to be able to do everything, like modern, contemporary, rap, tap, like singing. You never know what people are going to ask of you. So I mean, honestly, now is the perfect time to learn a new skill, to maybe start, you know, learning how to sing, learn how to play the piano, whatever it is that you're passionate about that you think could also benefit your dancing and, you know, propel your career in some way. I think that you can be productive without necessarily having to be physical. I mean, also like educating yourself and reading books about ballet. I mean, like learning about some dance history or whatever it is, and whatever I mean, you're passionate about. Don't just do it because you feel like you have to, but you know, it can be a good way to also like keep up your dance training, like, you know, mentally too.
No, absolutely. That's an amazing thing. I think that oftentimes it gets looked over that, you know, because ballet is a very involved career, it's not your typical 9 to 5 where you're going to work and then you're coming home and it's done. You know, I'm a firm believer, and I think that, you know, all of the guests who I've had on here so far we've come to the conclusion, you know, what we do at home is sometimes even more important than what we're doing at work that day, because it is preparing us for the next day or the next performance. And yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people, if they're not informed or if they're not living it, it's hard for them to understand and realize, you know, oh wow, this is really, ballet is more than a job, it's kind of a lifestyle.
And I think a lot of it is about like setting an intention. So like in the morning, I like to kind of, I mean, I'm such a planner, so like I love writing things down and like writing down my schedules and things. I didn't realize, I feel like having this break gave me the opportunity to like really set an intention for each day and like, okay, what do I want to work on? What do I want to do today? Like, how can I better myself and keep myself motivated today, you know, and also have fun with it, you know?
Definitely.
So it's kind of nice to have the time to think about what I want to do, and like how I can change in a way, how I can like I said, better yourself, or like think about what type of dancer you want to be. There's, you know, the possibilities are endless.
And how important would you say having that type of a set schedule, how has that helped you through this time? Because, you know, I for one, I will completely admit it, I'm so used to receiving a schedule from work and planning my life around that. You know, obviously going to work for the majority of the day, and then everything else, the few hours of free time that I have afterwards, it's, you know, adult life type things that, you know, have to be addressed. But now that we're kind of in a place where there is no set schedule, there is no real, I have to get up and go to work now, you know, what can you talk about what you're doing and how that's positively affected you, or how it's mentally affected your view with all of this going on?
Yeah, so it's kind of weird because it's like being your own manager, right? It's kind of like managing your time in a way that is productive but also like feasible, because I feel like you can't just do work 24/7. You need to kind of like add some fun into it. But I find that if I structure my day so that I kind of wake up and, you know, have breakfast, coffee, and like move your body a little bit, take a class, find time to like talk to friends, because, you know, you can get lonely with the isolation for sure. Whatever it is that makes you feel good, like self-care, meditation, like make sure you have the time to regenerate and like, you know, rest and have some time for yourself as well. And then spending time with your family, if you're, you know, lucky enough to be with your family like we are.
No, completely. I mean, I completely get it, and I completely agree. I think that's a wonderful point of view to have. And so someone has actually just wrote in, I'm looking at this all from my website, you guys. Someone has wrote in, I think it's very interesting. Ballet is a career that's already very, very short, and this is something that is definitely taking away from our time performing and working and honing our craft. But obviously, you know, this wasn't our choice, and it wasn't, you know, on us. It's not an injury. It's not something that happened to us per se. This is just affecting us. And so what can you talk about with the timeline in a ballet dancer's career? Is this something that you feel is negatively affecting your career? Does it make you worry about, oh, you know, when are we going to get back? How much will I have to do? How much will I have to put in to get back to where I was, that level of fitness? And, you know, just the realities of what it takes for us to be in top condition to be able to go out and perform. And especially ABT is an amazing example, because you guys are one of the, I mean, I'm willing to say the company that has one of the more demanding schedules, especially Met season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this whole situation is very frustrating, but I think that it's important to just not get too upset about it and like too emotional about it, and just knowing that, you know, the opportunities are going to be there when you come back. And I think that, well, it's important to keep ourselves accountable for that and motivated, because when we come back, like, we will be back probably full force. So I think that I'm just looking at it from that point of view and just trying to keep myself in shape the best that I can and not stressing about it too much. Yeah, I think it's just important to, like, maintain, like I said, like, the schedule is really important, so that when we come back, we feel like we didn't lose any time. So that we feel like, because really every day when you're rehearsing, you're kind of doing the same thing over and over and over. And I think that it's mostly about the schedule. Like, are you really changing that much unless you're on tour or doing something different? So I think that you can still improve even at home. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's a very fine line, when people say, do you think you could have been promoted in this time? Do you think that you could have danced this role or performed here or gone on tour there, And I personally, I feel the answer is yes to everything, because if you're continuing on the trajectory of your career, obviously those are the kind of natural progressions that we all want to assume at some point. And so definitely, being home right now for me has been a huge setback, and it is hard. And it comes down to also just the social element. For me, I'm thankful to be home. I've made it out of England and I'm with my family, and I could not be more relieved to know that they're all right as well. But I take for granted sometimes just how much it means to me to stand next to someone at bar, or to be next to somebody in a rehearsal, or even, in Birmingham, a lot of us live in the city center in England, and we walk to work together, we walk home to work together, and so there's a lot of camaraderie within the company, I'm sure at ABT as well. And to have that, just the physicality, like that element of being around people who are supportive and your colleagues and people who inspire you, it's definitely been an awakening for me to realize, like, wow, I don't realize just how much I love being surrounded by this art form.
Yeah. Well, what you said about, like, missing out on opportunities, I think that the opportunities will be there when you get back, and there's going to be another season, and I think that the rep, either whether it's like canceled or postponed or whatever, there's going to be so many other ballets that you're going to get the chance to dance. So I'm not stressing about that part. But yes, I think the social aspect is probably the hardest part for me, at least. But that's why, like, the apps like Zoom and FaceTime, and, like, having, like, the ability to just talk to your friends and see their face, and, like, this, like, Instagram lives, I think that's, like, such a great resource to have. Obviously it's not the same as seeing your friends in person and, walking home with them or whatever, but yeah, I think that you can still keep in touch. I feel like I've kept in touch with friends maybe even more during this time, just, like, reconnecting with people. So I think that's really important to do as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, it is. And that's one thing I've noticed as well, is the actual amount of communication I have with people seems to be so much more significantly increased, simply because that's the one thing that we still have free access to anywhere. So could not agree with you more. Another really interesting point I wanted to discuss is, obviously ballet is a career, it's a lifestyle that is extremely challenging in the physical department, but mentally as well. What would you say for you, and has this changed potentially throughout your career, being student to professional, has been more difficult, the physical components, the mental side of things, and what light can you shed to students and maybe other professionals who are experiencing the highs and lows of that right now?
So I think the biggest thing for me transitioning into a company was getting less feedback than I was receiving as a student. Mm-hmm. I was used to, like, having a lot of attention on me from my teachers. And I think that when you're in a company, you really are more accountable for yourself. So I think a way to kind of help yourself with that is to, first of all, have friends who you trust their opinion and you want their, like, honest feedback. Also, taking videos of yourself, I think, is a great tool just to see, like, what you can improve on. really just like not being afraid to ask for advice and find maybe a mentor or someone you trust. That was like the hardest part for me, I think. Yeah, it's mostly just like keeping yourself accountable for your dancing, and also like having a buddy. I mean, even during this time, like having a buddy to take classes with online, and like, or work out with, or like FaceTime your friend while you're doing a workout or whatever. I think that's like a great tool. That's kind of a side note, but yeah.
No, I do. I think that that's an amazing idea and an amazing resource. It definitely, finding a source for motivation at this time is sometimes really, really difficult. And so that kind of ties into the next question is, what motivates you getting through this time? Because there's a lot of students and there's a lot of parents who wrote into me and asked, a lot of their children at home, and a lot of, students and their peers, when they're home, it's kind of family time. A lot of, me personally, when I come home and visit my family from England, the last thing I want to do is, put point shoes on as soon as I get off the plane. I want to be able to enjoy my family. But now that I am here, this wasn't necessarily a planned holiday. It's more of okay, I'm here and life still has to go on. So what advice could you give to those who are maybe struggling to find the motivation to do something on their own, or don't have the ability or resources to be able to FaceTime with a friend, or have that external source of, okay, let's get on this. This is what we should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say it's hard because I even struggle with this, especially like the first week, because I was like, what am I doing? I'm not dancing. I can't dance. Like, I'm not a dancer. What am I? What am I doing? But I think it's important to just remember that you are a dancer, even if you're not currently dancing or taking class or rehearsing from 10 till 7 or whatever your schedule might normally be.
Yeah.
And like I said, like, just keep your energy up. I think that's really important. And like, to keep thinking about dance and how you can improve upon your technique or whatever, because I think that basically if you're rehearsing from 10 to 7 every day, you're improving, but you're also improving because you're in shape and you're dancing constantly. So you're not necessarily like changing anything about your technique or your artistry. I think that a lot of it is mental, a lot of it is internal, and you can think about, watch videos. Like, I mean, YouTube is an amazing resource. Watch YouTube videos of your favorite ballet dancers, see what you like about them. Also, there's so many companies that are live streaming ballets right now, like Royal Ballet, Bolshoi Ballet, operas are live streaming. Just like, I urge everyone to really educate yourself on like what you enjoy and how you can improve not only as a dancer, but as a person too, really, because right now we might not be, it's okay to do other things. And I think that that's something that needs to be said. Like, it really is okay. You don't just have to do like online ballet classes all day,
Definitely.
Enjoy the time as well. So, yeah.
No, and I think that's an amazing point that you just mentioned. You don't have, let's put it in context. You don't have to do ballet class every day. I think that, and I am going out on a limb saying this, but I am someone personally who, I have been doing my bar. That's just my own personal choice, and it makes me feel good to know that something is better than nothing. But I also am a firm believer, and this is just, again, personal opinion, I get bored of doing the same exercises every single day. So
well, I think it's
some days it's, yeah, exactly. I mean, some days it's just taking the dogs for a walk. Sometimes it's going bike riding with my parents and, forcing them to, run after me. No, not run after me, but, challenging them as well. And it's interesting too because, my dad and my mom, they both go to the gym on a regular basis, and they're like, oh, okay, well, gyms are closed. What am I going to do? And it's been hard for them to, my dad's birthday was a couple days ago, and he's, we're all sitting down here with cake and just life is great. And so, yeah, it's definitely something that I think you can involve your family in, and just trying to, find ways to keep active, because before we're ballet dancers, we're people, and you want to invest in yourself as a person and your health. And I think that because this is such an unconventional situation that we're in, it's important to think outside the box and give yourself the opportunity to try things that, you know, as you were saying, that you maybe haven't before. Educate yourself, inform yourself, and look at all of the amazing resources that are out there.
Yeah. Also, like, different forms of cross training. Now's like a perfect time to kind of like experiment with like what you like, you know, try a bunch of classes, see what you like. I feel like I am still figuring out what I like. I know I really like Pilates and yoga and floor bar, but now I'm finding that I really like, you know, walking outside. I really love like running and, you know, I mean, a little bit.
No, it's
hiking, and you know, there's so many different things that you can do and experiment with, and like not be worried about being sore the next day because, you know, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that it's so important too. I mean, again, I know that this is all the time right now in the world is scary, and it's to go outside and just do much of any human interaction is not something that's advised. But again, if you have the ability, if you're in a location where you're able to go outside, even if it's just for 20 minutes and walk around in some sunshine, I think that is, again, the mental component to physical activity and nature and taking yourself from indoors and removing your, you know, putting yourself in a different space. I think that is so healthy for the mind.
Right. I think that a lot of it is like, how can you raise your vibrational energy in a way?
Yeah.
How can you bring yourself happiness during this time? Like whatever it is, whether it's taking a bath, whether it's listening to music or meditating or doing yoga, like find what works for you. And I mean, I know it's really cliche, but just, you know, find what you enjoy doing.
Absolutely. And so someone just wrote in something here, and I think that this is it's a very delicate topic, but I do think it's extremely relevant, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it as well. So someone is writing saying that it's their first year in a professional company, they're an apprentice, and, you know, obviously they were hoping to be rehired. I don't know, it doesn't say if they have been or not, I don't know, but basically they're asking, you know, for people who are at the very beginning of their career or trying to be hired into a professional company right now, you know, there's no auditions happening. They don't have the opportunity to dance and prove themselves worthy, you know, and of course, you know, the finances are a very big concern at this time for a lot of companies because people are laid off. They're not sure when they're coming back to work, if companies are going to be laying off dancers indefinitely. You know, there's a lot of fear, and actually there's quite a few of these kind of questions, you know, I can't audition, I can't do this, or how am I supposed to get my job security? What can you advise? You know, again, this is a very sensitive topic, but what can you advise those younger dancers who were us a few seasons ago and who were wondering about their career and their job security, and especially how to keep themselves engaged with the company and how to keep themselves on a path to success?
Right. Well, I'd say two things. The first thing, you can't stress about something that's out of your control. And unfortunately, this is, you know, something that's unprecedented. We can't really do anything about it. It is the way it is. You know, we're all stuck at home. So you can only make the most of your situation and work on yourself. And that goes with point number 2, is just to stay motivated, to stay active, to stay in shape as best as you can, because these auditions will reopen companies understand this as well, and they will need dancers at some point. Yeah. You know, they will need to hire more dancers. So, like, there will be more auditions. There will be other companies. Like, this isn't the end of the world. So I'd say just to be ready for when, you know, everything does, you know, go back to normal again. I mean, hopefully, you know, God willing. But, you know, just to stay positive and productive. Those are my 2 points. Yeah.
Definitely. I could not agree more with that. I think that this isn't something, and I think we all have to keep this in mind. I know for me, when it first happened, my immediate concern was just, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But the realization of this isn't just me, this is pretty much every single company in the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, we're all in the same boat with this.
Level of, you know, safety in that. I mean, and kind of like a feeling like we can all come together. Like all the dancers are in the same situation. You see videos all over Instagram and Facebook. Everyone's in their own houses or like dancing in their kitchen or whatever. And I think that it's kind of amazing to see this community like come together on social media too, like the community of dancers. And I think that like there's been some really interesting, marketing material and like social media videos coming out from this. And I think that you can make a good thing out of any situation. So yeah,
absolutely. And I want to add into this, how important or how relevant do you think it is to maintain your, I don't want to say maintain your what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. How important would you say it is to keep relevant on social media, to put things out there about yourself? I mean, do you think that that's something that's beneficial to dancers? And not necessarily at this time in the world with coronavirus, but in general, is it important, or do you think that, because I know a lot of people are writing in here, I'm scared to post things, or someone saying, I don't want to post too much, or I feel like I have to do something every day just so that I'm remembered. What would you advise, or what are your personal thoughts on staying active on social media throughout this time and in general with the ballet dancing career?
So I think that social media is a great tool, not only to promote yourself or whatever brand you want to promote, but also like just the ballet in general. And I think that it is really important to keep the ballet like relevant in people's lives. So I think that social media can be a great tool for that. I think that it can really bring dancers together, like I said, and can be a source of positivity and humor in people's lives. I love seeing like funny ballet videos, like whatever Daniil and Masha posted that video, and it was just like amazing and hilarious. But I think that to a certain point, like you don't need to post if you don't feel comfortable posting. And I think that it's good to also sometimes step away from the cell phone. I know that like when I have a lot of free time, I'm usually sucked in by the social media and by being on my phone all the time. So I think that it is good to take a step back sometimes too, especially during this time, to just like really kind of reevaluate everything and go outside, like I said, like try not to like be binge watching TV, obviously. Like take care of yourself too, and like make sure you are doing other things, not just on a screen.
Completely agree, absolutely. And so this is something kind of similar to being active and having the voice to go to post things and be relevant. But someone wrote in and asked, is it normal to feel pressured in a company when discussing how you are? So I think what this is getting at is, again, this is different for everybody, but I find it very easy to be able to talk openly about, my hip is really, really bothering me today, or my foot is dealing with whatever, I've got, 90 blisters, whatever the issue is. Mm-hmm. But if we're talking about how we're doing mentally, it's something that is just cast aside, no one talks about it, and we lock it up and forget about it. And part of me wants to attribute that to the fact that ballet dancers are so disciplined, and we're just able to dive into the work and push everything else aside.
Yeah.
But addressing the mental concerns that we have, I don't know, how do you feel about addressing physical versus mental challenges within the company and within yourself?
Yeah. Like you said, I think it's so much easier to talk about your physical pains than your, emotional problems. But there again, like I think it's all about finding the right resources. There are so many great like therapists out there, and I think it's just finding someone who works for you, or even if you don't want to see a therapist, like doing all the things that make you happy, talking to a friend, talking to your family, spending time with your family, getting a dog, whatever it is that like helps you. But yeah, it definitely is a challenge, because I think that a lot in the dance world, especially, like a lot of people put aside the the emotional, mental aspect of it, and they just think that it's all mean. But I actually think that, you know, a lot of it is more in your head than you think. And especially during this time, because it can be really hard when you're not dancing, and it can be depressing, like, you know, not being in your daily routine and seeing the same people every day. So I think that it's more important now than ever to really make sure to tap in with your feelings. Maybe keep a journal and write down how you're feeling every day. And also, like I said, what really has been helping me has been like kind of setting an intention. You don't have to write it down, but even just in the morning, waking up and, you know, making your breakfast, turning on music, being happy, and just thinking, okay, what am I going to get done today? How am I going to be productive? And I think that you'll find that that really helps you. It really helps me because I like having structure and, you know, just feeling good about yourself, and also, like, you know, knowing that everyone's in the same situation. So I think that that can really help with the whole, like, you know, all the bad thoughts going on in there.
Definitely. No, I mean, I think that's a wonderful point as well. And so I want to tie this into another question someone just sent in, and that is, I'm not a dancer at all, never danced a step in my life. It's a good thing, because it's definitely saving the world from something terrible. Oh gosh, you guys are funny with this. But the question is, I have no idea how difficult it is to become a dancer. I've watched So You Think You Can Dance with my friends, and we thought it was insane. Is ballet anything like that? And what can you talk about with, you know, what does it really take to get to where you guys are at in your career? Obviously, we all have our own paths. We all have a very unique trajectory that we all go on to become a dancer. I think in general, I mean, and this is a major generalization, but typically, if you're going to pursue a ballet career, I think that switch flips from about age 12, 13-ish, where people really start making those financial, logistical, and educational changes to their routine to be able to, from pretty much 12 to 17, 18, to really begin preparing themselves for a professional career. I mean, I don't know, Anabel, what can you talk about with your experience? You know, what was the physical component? What was the mental component of, you know, starting from that decision making, you know, yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go for this?
Yeah, well, I feel like so I only started like really being serious about ballet around like 13, 14. That was kind of when I was like, told my mom, I was like, you know, I really want to try this. Like, I want to go to a school. I want to go to a good ballet school, and then try and get into a company and see if I can make a career out of this. But until then, I didn't know that I wanted to do ballet seriously, and I was not any good. It was when I was like 12, 13, I changed studios and like really found a passion for it. But after that, after I decided that I wanted to do it, I put in so much time and so much work into it. I was doing, you know, school, and then my grandma would drive me to ballet at night, and it was hard to juggle. So I think that you need to put in the hard work, but it's so worth it. And if you love it, it doesn't feel like work. It's, you know, it's something, it's our passion. It's what we are. We're dancers.
Definitely.
So, yeah, of course you need to put in the work, and there's pain that goes with it, but it's all worth it. So yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. I definitely think, and I would agree 100%. The work and the commitment is so difficult, and it's so heavily involved in so many aspects. But if you love what you're doing, if you're passionate about this, you know, yeah, it's hard work, but it doesn't feel like work. It's a choice that we make because we want to do this, you know. I think it's important for people to realize and to normalize within the ballet world that we choose to go through all of this. We choose this career, and we are accepting of all of those little things that come with it, whether they're good, bad, highs, lows. It's a part of the process, and something that I live by. I don't know if I should call it a mantra or whatever, but there is a quote that I heard one time, and it said, "To bloom is a beautiful process of becoming," and I attribute that to not only the process of becoming Allie the ballerina, but it's part of the process of becoming Allie the person. And so with that mentality, that's something that I try to bring into whatever I do, And especially right now because, well, we're not doing a whole lot. But what we can do is part of the full circle. It's part of the full picture. So I thought that was a really unique question, and I thought that was such a beautifully thought out answer. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I think that also just to go off of that quick.
Of course.
We don't choose this. I mean, I don't treat this as, like, obviously this is my job, but I don't think of it as a job. And I think that that's really important to remember as well. And also, like, after this time off, especially, you're going to realize, like, I mean, I don't know about you, but after summer vacations, I'm always, like, so ready to go back into it.
Yes, yes.
I miss ballet, and I think that it's so good to have that feeling again, because sometimes when you're working so much, you can get burnt out. Especially if you have like really grueling seasons, or if you're doing like however many Swan Lakes you say you do, like 42 at a time. That's a lot. And you know, you can get really burnt out from doing the same thing every time. So I think it's really sometimes refreshing to have this time off to not be a dancer, or, you know, to still be a dancer, but not be dancing all the time, and come back and be like super passionate about it and, you know, reignite that. So I think that that's something that's, it seems like it's a bad thing right now, but I think it can be really helpful for when we do come back.
No, I agree. I think it's something that, I mean, personally for me, exactly what you said, after having some time off, going back to ballet, it's like the first day of school. You know, I get so excited. I get so filled with joy. Like, I can't wait to go back. I can't wait to be part of this. So definitely, I mean, I think that this is going to be something that when we're all able to get back, and when we're all, you know, with good health, good safety, you know, and with permission from the government, of course, I think that this is going to be something that's an accomplishment for the ballet world, to be able to have been put on hold for a bit and then to be able to come back successfully and triumphantly. I think that's going to be a really big achievement for the arts community. So it's funny, I don't know why, I wanted to just quickly put this out there. A lot of people are commenting, I didn't know you wore glasses, what are these? So these, I actually don't wear glasses, I don't have contacts, now I have these lovely glasses marks. You guys can probably like make a meme out of that or something. These are actually by Privé Revaux. They're by Jamie Foxx, and they're not real glasses, they're not prescription, they are blue light glasses. So if you're wearing them, it's strictly for the purpose of protecting your eyes, protecting your retinas from looking at computer screens and phones, which is something that I have been doing incessantly since I've arrived home and since all this took place. So I will make another post about them if you guys are curious, but I want to save the rest of the time for Anabel. But I just saw all these coming through. So thank you guys for your interest. I do appreciate it.
I feel like I need a pair of those.
Self-care is important at this time. You know, while the normal routine, and this is another thing I wanted to bring up, self-care, and not in the sense of maintaining physical activity. Self-care as in, what are you doing as a human, as a person? What are the things that, you know, what are the things that make you feel good? What are the things that cultivate you, bring you energy, bring you excitement in your life when we're not able to find that joy and find those factors of motivation in our art form?
Yeah, so I feel like self-care and like wellness are like two of those words that are very like elusive. Like, what does that actually mean? And I think that they can kind of mean a lot of different things. And I think it just depends for you. It's mostly what makes you feel good. So whether that's doing a workout class, doing a yoga class, meditating, like what I said. I mean, it doesn't just have to be like putting on a face mask, taking a bath, doing your nails, you know. It could be, you know, chatting with a friend, talking to your mom, having a cup of tea. Just making sure that you are happy and healthy. And I think that resting, honestly, is a huge part of that. I think during this time, it can be really hard to forget that you need to like sleep and like maintain a normal schedule so that your body is still in like a normal like circadian rhythm, and you need to kind of be mindful of that. Like, I don't think it's good to go to bed at 3 a.m. just because you're like, oh, well, I have nothing to do tomorrow. So for me, that's like a kind of form of self-care that I think is really important, just like getting enough sleep and eating healthy. And, you know, now's actually a really great time to do that because we're all at home. We're So, I mean, learn how to cook, cook something that's nutritious and fun to make and make it with your family. I love doing that. That really calms me down. I love being in the kitchen.
Which I know is something you have a real talent for. I mean, obviously, because for those who are just joining us or watching now, I've known Anabel since about 2015 when we were both at Houston Ballet together, but I have seen your creations, and I know for those who are curious about what they look like, you have an Instagram account, right? All in Good Time.
Yes.
So she has some amazing recipes, whether it's eating out or what she's making. I think that it's an amazing resource for people to check out if they're interested to see, not all, but what one ballet dancer fuels herself with. I think it's an amazing thing. I think it's an important thing to talk about, especially, that there's a lot of questions about, okay, well, what do ballet dancers eat and all these different things. So yeah, I encourage you all at this time to nourish yourselves, not only with motivation from the outside, but from good food and good products and good things that are going to keep you healthy, because having good resistance at this time is so important.
We need
and of course being able to I think that it comes from the inside out. You can't just rely on external factors to contribute to your well-being. It's something that is just as much internal as it is external. So
yes, definitely.
Food for thought.
Take your vitamins, find out what works for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so there's a couple more questions that were sent in that I want to talk about briefly. Is it normal to have insecurities as a professional dancer?
Yes, 100%. Everyone has insecurities, whether you're a dancer or not. Yeah, absolutely. I think even more so being a professional dancer, maybe because you're surrounded by so many amazing, talented other professional dancers who are, so accomplished. And I think that it's just really important. I mean, for me, like I said, not receiving the feedback when I first joined the company, or even a professional school, it was very different from the little studio that I was in. And I think that keeping your confidence up and realizing that you got to this place, wherever you are, you have made it this far, and you should be proud of yourself and grateful for, where you are at this very moment. So yes, of course, everyone has insecurities. I have insecurities. I'm sure you do. It's totally
absolutely
normal. But I think it's also important to maintain your confidence levels and just, give yourself some credit when credit is due, for sure.
That was an amazing answer. And then one final question before we wrap up today's conversations. What is one thing, in your own opinion, what is one thing that you would like to see change in the ballet community? Is it a stigma? Is it a stereotype? Is it a behavioral thing? What would you love to see change when we all start back up in our careers again?
That's a tricky one. I would say, I mean, ABT is really good at this because I feel like ABT is very much so a family. But I think that kind of treating everyone with respect, I mean, I know that's very general, but, even the apprentices or the new dancers, making them feel welcome, I think that is something that is so great. When I was an apprentice, I felt so welcomed into the company, and that helped me with my transition for sure. So I just think that we can continue to do that and obviously treat everyone maybe not similarly, because sometimes principal dancers need a particular bar spot, and I think that it's really important to have a hierarchy as well, and understand that
would you say that being mindful and being courteous are two keywords?
Sorry, I lost you there. One more time.
Oh, no, that's okay. Would you say that being mindful of others and being courteous to others' personal boundaries, is that something that you think should be more of an awareness within company culture?
Yes, I do. I think that just understanding that everyone is different and everyone is, just because, if someone wants to stand in a certain place, or basically not just, how do I want to phrase this? like every dancer is different. So I think when they come in from a studio company or from, you know, if they're foreign dancers, they're going to have different cultures, different expectations. So I think you can't expect the same thing of each dancer is basically what I'm trying to say. And that basically just taking the time to like get to know the person and, you know, accept them into the family. I think that would be like the biggest thing. But I like, honestly, I had no issues with it, and ABT is so great with that, like with the younger dancers. And like we have, for example, we have like this apprentice program. So with this, they all have mentors. So I'm really lucky to be a mentor to one of the apprentices, and, you know, kind of like guide her through, like help her navigate, you know, what company life is like. And I think that it's really great for companies to have resources like that for, you know, the dancers who are transitioning, because that can be a really tough period. So yeah, just being open. Everyone should be, you know, open-minded about different, you know, cultures and expectations. Yeah. Sorry, that was kind of a botched answer, but
No, I mean, I think that's a beautiful way to sum it up. This is a time, especially whether it's before coronavirus, during, or after, it's so important to be gentle with others. It's so important to be aware of everyone and how we're all going through this collectively. So, and of course, being able to mentor or be a person or a figure of support for others, I think is definitely something that the world can all use right now. And so with that being said, I want to thank Anabel so much for being one of those people, for everyone who is watching on Instagram, my website, YouTube, all of that. It means a great deal to me, and hopefully it means a great deal to everyone who is able to participate today. Anabel, thank you again. It was so good to catch up. And yeah, for those of you who want to check out Anabel, I will be posting on my website, allieetoile.com, so you guys can check out more about her and more about American Ballet Theatre. And of course, this video will be available on my YouTube coming soon for those who want to rewatch or be able to share with others. So, Anabel, thank you so much. I hope that you and your loved ones continue to stay healthy and safe during this time, and it has been an absolute pleasure having you on Conversations with allieetoile.
Thank you. So great to talk to you.
Absolutely, you as well. Have an amazing day, you guys, and thank you so much for tuning in. Love to you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.